I'm Ravi Gupta. I welcome you all. I am editor-in-chief of eGov magazine. eGov magazine is India's first and the only magazine on e-governance for last 16 years. And today is the Technology Day. And today is an important day from a technology angle. And on this day, we have the pleasure of having Shri Durga Shankar Mishra ji, who is the Secretary of Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, Government of India, with us for a live webinar with us. So welcome, sir. Thanks for joining us. And the context is that Shri Durga Shankar Mishra has been the Joint Secretary and Additional Secretary in the Ministry of Urban Affairs, and he has played an important role in the smart city mission of the Government of India. So I will request Mr. Durga Shankar Mishra ji to kindly talk about the role of smart city mission and the work which has been done in last 5 years, how it is helping in this COVID-19 situation.
Thank you, Ravi. Let me first correct. I had not been joint secretary in this ministry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was additional secretary, and now I'm secretary for almost 3 years now.
Okay.
So,
I'm sorry.
well, I have been involved in conceiving the whole, translating the vision of Honorable Prime Minister in developing the smart cities right from the beginning. We came out with the guidelines. We got the details of all those things, what needs to be done. You are aware that the smart cities country decided to have 100 smart cities, and we have traveled a long distance. We have selected these smart cities through two level of challenge process, one at the state level, other at the central level, because every state was allotted a number and at least one smart city in every state or a union territory. And that was based, this number was based on the total number of cities and the total urban population. Based on that, some objective criteria, every state was given a number. And through the two level of the challenge in the competition process, the cities have been selected. The last one selected was the city of Shillong in the state of Meghalaya. Now the cities have traveled a long distance. I mean, this is in the, because after June 2018, when the last one was selected, they have traveled a long distance. These 100 cities, the total projects for the smart city plan is something like 205,000 crore of rupees. And out of that, nearly 180,000 crore rupees projects worth they have already they have been tendered out, and the work has commenced on something like more than 120 lakhs crores. 120,000 crores. So it's a huge progress already done. There's a progress completion of nearly 30,000 crore work as projects have been completed. I'm just giving these numbers because just to get an idea of what is happening across the country. One of the projects which has been taken by all the 100 cities is Integrated Command and Control Center. 45 of them are already operational. Another 17 of them are at a very, almost at the stage where they'll be launched very soon. So this 45 Integrated Command and Control Center have played a very, very important role during this COVID-19. You must have heard about the COVID-19 tracker of the Surat, or the predictive model of Bangalore, or various other things. People, you see, the necessity is the mother of invention. You already have the system, you already have the infrastructure, and there was a need. The need was, one, to track those who are the COVID infected persons. Two, make the people aware of the realities, aware of various things, so that to allay all kinds of misinformation in the citizens, to provide facilities for the telemedicine to those who have been impacted, or to provide food or various other essential goods to the people, even to disinfect places. Using drone or using various other technologies to disinfect places. So various kinds of activities have been undertaken across the country. not only by those smart cities which have got the integrated command and control center, but also others. You see, what they have learned is the smart city concept is to get more from less. I mean, that was the message which Honorable Prime Minister gave when he was launching smart cities on 25th of June 2015. His message was, what is a smart city? It is to get more from less. You have got limited resources. How you can serve maximum amount of your requirements using those resources. That is all the smartness is about. So during the COVID-19, we were further short of resources. What is that you can do? How you can use the technology in a best possible manner so that you are able to serve the maximum requirement of the public. And that's what they have demonstrated. Maybe during course of discussion, I'll give you more specific examples, but this has been appreciated widely in the media, by the public, and even with the public representatives. I've been getting that, well, the smart cities have really proved, and every city need to become a smart city. In fact, let me also add to this, that some people ask questions like, why only 100 smart cities? Why not 1,000 smart cities? Why not 4,000 smart cities? Because our number of the total number of cities is 4,372. Well, if something is to be experimented, some new ideas have to come. You don't want to make that universal. You do it at one place, have the learning, and then you can always upscale it. So the smart cities are more like, they are like the laboratories for our urban future. They are like the lighthouses projects. So whatever field they get into, for example, in education field, they have used extensively the use of electronic education in a big way. I mean, using, say, modes of transfer, communicating to the students in a very, very effective manner. They have utilized the non-fossil fuel energy or renewable energy like solar, solid waste, converting solid waste into the energy, or other types of energies in a very, very effective manner. They have utilized urban planning in very effective manner so as to make people's life much more easier. They have utilized, the roads, to make the roads a smart road. All that kinds of things which are moving on the road. Ultimately, roads are to serve the people. So, the maximum space should be there for the people. There should be pedestrian pathways. There should be for the cycle, for cyclists should be there, and enough kind of public amenities should be there on the roads. So they have come out with this. The smart water, like whatever limited water you have got, can you make it use the technology with that infrastructure in such a way so that you are able to provide 24/7 water supply? You are mitigating all kinds of hazards or all kinds of the disasters. So what is that you can do so that you are able to address such kind of hazards, such kind of disasters? So they have come out with various kinds of technological solutions. Now it is for the states. Every state has got at least one smart city. It is for the states to upscale them, and many states have done that. They have done in some way, like declaring other cities also as a state smart cities, or they have taken specific experiences, knowledge which has come through the smart city to the other cities. So this 100 smart cities, they are like the seeds, they are like the catalyst, which will lead to, they will determine how our future cities need to be. So in this context of the COVID-19, the way they have done it, in fact, we have developed a kind of exchanging the knowledge experience from one city to other cities, and that has led to a lot of exchanging of good ideas, and those good ideas have passed from one part of the country to another part of the country, that they have again not copied, but they have tried to use that in the manner so that it is useful in their context. Yeah.
Sure. Sir, as you mentioned that there are enough success stories about the smart cities in the field of education, to health, to smartphones and various areas. Now that the laboratory experiment, the test is over, is there any plan to scale up the smart city mission to 200 cities, 500 cities? Any plan of the government?
No, Ravi, as I told you,
Sir.
it is not, we would like every city to become smart.
Sir.
And smart is it to get more from less.
Sure.
to utilize your resources in most optimal manner. So whatever learning is coming from these 100 smart cities, they need to be upskilled. For example, I mean, like say any disaster like this, how to address that, that has to be done in a more comprehensive manner. So this learning has to be upscaled. Not that you add more cities to become smart. Every city needs to become smart. Yeah.
So are there any learning mechanism, learning framework works for the non-smart cities to learn from the smart cities?
Yes, that the platform is, you see, these cities are being, from the government of India, we are only providing policy and we are also providing such guidelines, learning from one to another. And then every 3 months or so, we have this kind of a conference where all the learnings are shared with each other. The state principal secretary, the secretaries, the directors of the municipal administration, they are all there and they take their learning. Similarly, at the state level, I mean, for example, the smart city of Varanasi, they have done tremendous job during this COVID-19. But whatever has been their learning, that learning has been utilized in other cities also. Or say smart city of Surat, what they have done in Ahmedabad, that learning has been utilized in other cities also. So it is for the states and we keep on pursuing that. Yeah.
Sir, another very important part of your department, which is the Amrit program, the Amrit program. Any success stories from the Amrit mission and how they are getting replicated across the country?
Well, Amrit program, Rabi, is for 500 cities. These were the cities whose population was more than 100,000 in the
Yes.
2011 census, or such cities which were important from tourism point of view, maybe from the, they were situated on the river, they were island cities, or maybe hill cities. So we had to select cities which are based on certain criteria, mostly more than 100,000 population. And for the first time in the country, I mean, for the first time in the developmental history of the country, water was targeted in a big way. The total project size was 77,640 crore, the total SAP size. And water was the first thing, so that the universal water, everybody gets a good potable water. I'm happy to share with you that we targeted, the total gap we found in these 500 cities is 1.39 crore. 1.39 crore water taps needed to be given so that every household gets a water, or if not at the household, maybe within 50 meters from the household, because the water line cannot be laid in certain areas. And out of 1.39 crores so far, we have already given connection to 78 lakhs and the work is already going on. Out of 77,640 crore total SAP size, which was sanctioned almost 2.5 years back, DPRs for nearly 81,000. I mean, the additional money came from the state government, they have been done. And almost more than 70,000 crore works have been taken up. So, and this will take, you understand, infrastructure takes some time. So this will take some time, another couple of years before we are able to complete this. But sure enough, all these 500 cities will get this water. For the sewer connection, we had targeted, the gap was found to be 1.545 crores. And out of that, 48 lakh sewer connections has been given. There were a lot of reforms also. I mean, a lot of reforms, for example, like converting the street lights into the LED lights. And out of 1.01 crore total points on the streets, nearly 76 lakhs street points have been converted to LED, this thing. Training of people, say for example, ease of doing business in construction permit, you are very well aware that our position in the World Bank, I mean, across the globe, out of 190 countries which participated in the World Bank's ease of doing business report, our rank used to be 186 only 5 years back. Now it is 27. I mean, there is a jump of almost like 158 places. This is a huge jump. And we are trying to do that. Almost like 440 Amrut cities, they have got this online building permission system. Overall, nearly 2,050 cities across the country. And we target by March 2021 100% every city will have a ease of doing business in construction permits. So again, the green spaces. I mean, in these cities, something like 1,300 green spaces have come up. So they are the places where the young, children, old, women, I mean, they can all go for the community kind of a living. So a lot of projects of, say, non-motorized transport, they have been taken up under Amrut. So there is a huge learning. I mean, and now we, as you know, that Honorable Prime Minister announced in his last address to the nation on 15th August 2019, that next move is the Jal Jeevan Mission. Every city to have the Jal Jeevan Mission. We are working on that program for the Jal Jeevan Mission, and soon enough we will come up with something where we would like to conserve every drop of water, make sure that whatever water is available, that is utilized in the most efficient manner. So this program is going on quite well. Yeah.
Fantastic, sir. And please also tell us about the housing for all mission, which is an important mission of the country.
Rabi, as far as housing is concerned, you see, Honorable Prime Minister made a resolution that when we celebrate our 75th anniversary of Indian independence, that is in 2022, everybody must have house of his own. And when he says it is house, it is not the house in the sense of four walls, because even the four walls may constitute a house. When the Prime Minister says it is the house for all, that means a house which has got a toilet, which has got a kitchen with a gas connection, which has got a water connection, there is a water, there is a living area. So it's a house where individual can think in terms of fulfilling their dreams and aspirations. Because those who have come from the rural area to urban area, they have come with a lot of aspirations. And those aspirations are not fulfilled if they live in a house where they compromise on the various amenities. So this decision of the Honorable Prime Minister, this target looked very, very difficult. Because the gap which we have found, I mean, which we assessed to the state government to the tune of 1.12 crores. And this kind of housing has not been taken up in any part of the globe so far. Even under the JNNURM scheme, this is Jawaharlal Nehru National Urban Renewal Mission, in 10 years between 2005 to 2012, total number of houses sanctioned was only 12.45 lakhs. And out of that, only 8 lakhs houses were delivered in 10 years. So to think of doing 1.12 crore, how you are going to get the resources, how you are going to get the land for it, how you are going to do this. I mean, all these look quite challenging. But now at this juncture, when we have already, this scheme was launched on 25th June 2015, we have already completed, now going to complete 5 years now. We, at this stage, I'm so happy to share with you that we have already sanctioned 1.05 crores. 1 crore 5 lakh houses are already been sanctioned. And out of that, nearly 64 lakhs houses are either complete or under construction at different stages. Out of that, nearly 34 lakhs houses are already constructed and people are living there. In fact, if you see my tweets, wherever I used to go, any state, any city I go, I definitely visit our Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana beneficiaries, and we find that, I'm really astonished the kind of joy I get from the children, from the lady of the house, who is the owner of the house. That was also one of the target, that we provide complete women empowerment. The house is either in the name of the women or it is the joint name with the first name in that of the women. So this is the kind of joy I see. I have seen that people have constructed houses in such places where even taking the material would be very, very difficult. I mean, in Northeast and hilly states, so difficult to imagine that how they get it. But every person who moves to the urban area has a dream to have the house. And we are so happy to fulfill this. You'll be happy to know that out of this 1.05 crore houses, under the credit link subsidy scheme, there are 4 verticals of this Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. One is a beneficiary-led construction, where The individual construct house where already he is living because his house is dilapidated or in a bad condition. He owns a land, or some of the states have given them this patta of the land, I mean ownership of the land on a lease basis, and that has been done by many states. So he construct there, and that is the most popular one. Around 54% of the houses, 56% comes on this category. The second is affordable housing in partnership, where there is a public land, government land, or maybe the private land. Somebody construct a house, and that house is given to the individuals on the ownership basis. So this is around 34 to 35%. The second thing. The third is in situ slum redevelopment. Where the slums are there, we replace the slums with a good development of good housing condition. This is the third, which constitutes around 5 to 6%. All these three are they are constructed where the person is living. The fourth one is through the banks. That is either through the commercial banks or through the housing finance companies. They provide loan, and in that loan, part of the loan is government provides a grant, which leads to the reduction in EMI to the tune of nearly 2,500 rupees. I mean, depending on it is economically weaker section or lower income group, it will be around 2,600 rupees. If it is a middle income group between 6 lakhs to 18 lakhs, this will be around, say, 2,400 rupees or so. So this EMI reduction, this scheme is so popular. I mean, you see, in the 10 years between 2005 to 12, but total number of houses under 2-3 kinds of like Rajiv Rini Yojana and other scheme of JNNURM, where total number of houses sanctioned to the banks was only 18,000. And today we have crossed more than 10 lakhs houses have been given by the banks to these people. And out of that, just to the middle income group people whose annual income is between 6 lakhs to 18 lakhs, that is earning between 50,000 rupees to 1.5 lakhs rupees per month. I mean, mostly constituting young professionals, or maybe, those business people who have got, they have led the whole life they have lived, but they don't have a house. They still live in a rental kind of a housing. So for them, this scheme, nearly more than 10 lakhs people have been benefited under this scheme. And out of that, middle income group is 3.3 lakhs. This is a huge success. We are also aware that we have gone for getting the best technology. Honorable Prime Minister desired that when we are doing a construction of houses of this kind, as at this magnitude, why not get the best technology across the globe? And we did that, Global Housing Technology Challenge. And through the competition bidding process, we have selected 6 places in the country, which is Chennai, Indore, Rajkot, Ranchi, Lucknow, and Agartala. They have come through the competition process, and we have selected technology. We were going to ground them. I mean, we had already planned to ground them in the month of March. The schedule and everything was already there. In between, this COVID thing came. So we are not able to do that. But maybe after the COVID, all this lockdown is over, we will be able to ground them and do this. Let's see how this new technology can deliver houses of this magnitude, maybe 7-story building, just in 6 to 9 months. Wow. So we are promoting new technology, new affordable technology within the country. Also, we have selected various kinds of the new technologies, and we are promoting them in a big way. We are also promoting affordable, sustainable housing innovations. I mean, we have selected 5 places like IIT Chennai, IIT Bombay, IIT Kharagpur, IIT Roorkee, and NBRI Jorhat in the northeast state, where the new kind of technology, new kind of material, new kind of processes, we are funding so that to promote our Indian ingenuity, Indian knowledge and expertise, so that we come out with new kind of technology, because housing is something which is required at all the time. And this civil engineering did not have enough of a push was there. From the government side, we are going to push that. We have also addressed things like mitigating all kinds of disaster. We have come with a new map of that, you are aware. New technology course we are coming with. A lot of things we are doing so that this housing, which is the basic, very, very basic need of any human being, he is able to get a decent, a good quality housing. And I'm happy that it is doing quite well. Thank you.
Sure. Sir, the question is that in the times of Corona, there is awareness about now the environment, clean air, and more environment friendly cities. So your view on more like cycle friendly, pedestrian friendly, and environment friendly cities, like any mission of the government, any focus of the government on that.
Well, as a part of the Smart City program, you are aware that we have for the first time come out with a uh, uh, this is ease of living index.
Yes.
This ease of living index was nothing but to grade the cities, index the cities on the basis of what is that they can provide to the citizens, whether in terms of the sanitation, in terms of the various amenities which makes one do his things more properly, whether the say culture, education, and such other things which are there to preserve. I mean, various aspects of that we have come up with the ease of living index. We are aware that we got the very first ease of living index that was launched last year, and now we are working on the second one, where the people's perception will be happy to know that nearly 3 million people have participated in the uh, ease of living index people's perception, because the new dimension we have added when we are doing this. We have also launched this municipal performance index. I mean, how municipalities are performing. More importantly, we have come out with a climate smart cities. How resilient are the cities from the climate angle? Again, I told you we have done it for the smart cities because we want to start with the smart cities. The smart cities, now there is a change in thinking. And once that is experimented, once that has been done properly, like ease of living index, data smart cities, or climate smart cities, once you have done that, then we would like to upscale to the other cities. First, to start with the 500 cities whose population more than 100,000. Then we can go to the next level. Then go go to the next level. So the idea is to take them to all the cities.
Sure.
Again, on the as far as this you mentioned about the non-motorized transport. Non-motorized
Yes.
transport is another area which has been promoted under the Amrut scheme. But I think more needs to be done. We have come out with various kinds of standards for our sustainable urban transport program. But more needs to be done. We keep on holding, because this is, you see, urban development is primarily, it is the responsibility of the states. Under the constitutional arrangement, this subject belongs to the state government. But the central government does the hand-holding, provides guidelines, provides ideas, and kind of network with them, follow with them, so that the states come out with it. And many states have done very good job on the non-motorized transport. Yeah.
Sir, one question from the audience is that in the times of Corona, now there is an important focus on health. So, will the Ministry of the MOHUA will look at incorporating health index, health parameters more important way, like in the smart city and overall MOHUA initiatives, health parameters, health focus.
You see, health, as far as health is concerned, we already have a Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, and it is their program, not our program. But public health, yes, definitely our corporations, municipal corporations, municipalities, they are given the task of the public health.
Sure, sir. And
There's on the public health, and
yes,
you see, part of that, the sanitation, like
yes,
Swachh Bharat Mission. Swachh
yes,
Bharat Mission is a very, very important program. You understand that the kind of work we have done in this Swachh Bharat
yes,
Mission.
yes,
And we are also pursuing this wastewater,
yes,
either through the
yes.
sewer and septic system or the fecal
Mm,
sludge and septic management system, which is being
yes.
promoted by the ministry for the first time after
Mm,
2017
mm,
onwards.
mm.
But also in the smart cities, we have gone for, say, some innovations like telemedicines, telehealth. I mean, when the COVID-19 is there and we have got a limited number of doctors, how do you make sure that he is able to see, say 100 patients on a day? How he can, this more than 100 people at a day. So it is possible through our integrated command and control center. He is directly connected to the patient and he can watch them. You can discuss with them, prescribe medicines. I mean, all kinds of things which is possible there. We have, or some of our smart cities, they have gone for the non-invasive kinds of a diagnostic. Like if you go to the smart city of Pune, they have come out with a new experiment. I think I don't remember the number, but many number of such non-invasive diagnostic centers have come up in the city of Pune through the smart cities, so that you don't have to give your prick yourself, get pricked and get the blood collected, but you can be checked for various things. I mean, all these innovations are coming. So smart cities provide that kind of atmosphere for this. As regards our ease of living index, already the facility related to the health is a part of it.
Sir, there is a question by the audience that like the importance of hygiene has increased in the times of Corona. So, do you think that there is a need of launching the Swachh Bharat 2.0 now in this situation?
I couldn't get you, Ravi. Can you repeat it?
The importance of hygiene has increased in this times of Corona. So, is there a need for relaunching in a bigger way the Swachh Bharat 2.0 initiative? Like there is a question by the audience here on the screen.
Well, we are already, you see, Swachh Bharat, as far as Swachh Bharat is concerned, cleanliness and hygiene is not one-day business.
Yes.
If I'm clean today, and it's like saving. If I save today, I look clean. But I don't say for the next 10 days, I look like a sadhu. I mean, all this beard will go and I'll look in a different way. Similarly, cleaning can't be for one day. But again, it is, I mean, the government has already, we have moved from like ODF, we are almost like, other than some 50 odd cities in West Bengal, 100% cities are ODF. We have a large number of cities which are ODF plus. We have garbage-free star-rated network, and that too also, I mean, a large number of cities have got the various 1-star, 3-star, 5-star like that. But there is a long distance to travel. The dream of the Prime Minister is to make the whole country clean. And when you say whole country clean, for the urban area, it is the garbage which is the most important. So far, we have been able to treat only 65% of the total municipal waste in different ways, like by biomethanation or maybe through the energy conversion or various other ways through the material recovery, etc., etc. So a long distance. I mean, as you move from, say, our movement initially, when we started the journey, the total processing was only 14%. So when we have to jump from 14% to 25%, was very, very, very easy. But when we have to move from 60 to 61%, it is quite difficult. It is becoming difficult and difficult, yet we are taking the challenge. So this is one area. This wastewater is another big area. Wastewater is a very big area. So this we need to do that. So there are various things which are needed, and ultimately we would like every city to become ODF plus positively. Every city become ODF plus, where not only you are open defecation free, you are making sure that all that facilities which are there, they are utilized because they are kept in hygienic conditions. And two, even that sludge which is there, like the fecal sludge, you are able to take it out and you are able to treat it properly. Otherwise, it becomes a hazard by itself. Similarly, we would like every city to become a garbage-free, minimum 3-star. And that kind of thing is possible. Now we can change the strategy, because initially we were starting with where there was no public, I mean, the awareness was not there. Today, it has become a completely Jan Andolan. With this kind of a Jan Andolan, with the kind of a, I mean, when we do this truck survey, the kind of participation which is there for the public, we need to take it up higher level. The ministry is definitely working on it, and whether you call it SBM 2.0 or some other form, I'm sure this will come to handhold the cities so that they move to the next level of the cleanness, next level of ODF. Yeah.
Last question, but 1 minute more of yours. I know that you are meeting. Because of Corona, the social distancing has to happen like across the board. Do you think that more emphasis on IT for urban delivery, or like citizen services are delivered on IT online? More emphasis has to happen like after this Corona situation in the urban local bodies. Any views of yours on this?
You see, social distancing or various other things we have learned from Corona
Sir.
I think they have all become part of our life now. The way the word before Corona, the word after Corona is going to take a different shape altogether. Definitely,
Yes.
IT is going to play a major role. I mean, electronic doing things electronically, that is going to play a major role. Today, I'm able to connect through this media, this webinar. We are sitting at a quite a distance, but still we are able to do it so effectively. I mean, I have done not one but umpteen number of such kind of webinars. I mean, with the real estate players, with the municipal corporations. Recently, our Sadhguru Jaggi Vasdevji, he was so nice that he could address lakhs of our Swachhta warriors across the country. So this IT is going to play an important role in our life. After COVID, we have already, think of it, this digital thing in the last 6 years, what has done tremendous progress. But now we will realize that how to make use of it. There are people who are skeptic about it. There are people who had, thought of the negative things. I think even now they will also get convinced that we should use it in a more effective manner. Yeah.
Yes. And sir, lastly, you have, sir, attended lots of our conferences written in our eGov magazine, and we are interacting here. Your inputs and suggestions about the work of Villets. We are trying to create awareness in the field of IT. So,
I think you should use this opportunity, this COVID-19 opportunity. This is a huge opportunity. Every challenge has got a hidden opportunity in it. So the learning from COVID-19 is how to be more effective, make things more effective, utilizing the power of IT. I think you can definitely promote that, and there'll be large number of takers, unlike it was earlier. So all the very best to Villets. I'm aware that all the good work you are doing in various other fields, including the urban development. I mean, the governance is not only urban, but the governance is a whole lot of, is a gamut of things, and out of that, urban governance is one part of it. I've been part of some of your workshops or seminar. So I see the kind of interest you have been developing, and others who are following you. So kindly use this COVID-19. In fact, the way it has helped in cleaning of our road. I mean, the whole air is now cleaner. So if people do not move much, don't use vehicle much, or they use the public transport, this is going to cut down on the total pollution. And with cuts on the pollution, it will improve the quality of life. If you do not, the industries, if now the less effluents are going to our rivers, and the rivers have turned very clean now. So people should realize this, and this is going to add to the value to the human life. So there's a lot of learning from COVID. I mean, it's not only negative, but a lot of positives also. So those things need to be emphasized. Yeah.
Great, sir. With this, we will conclude the session, and I thank you for taking the time, and thank all the audience who have watched this. And I will request all the audience to please like and share this video, so that the good work which the MoHUA department is doing is actually reaching to a lot more people. Thank you, sir. Thank you with this. Namaskar.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Ravi. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you.